Hey, it's Coach Jamila, and I am a transformation life coach. I serve highly successful, overachieving professional women, specializing in two specific areas. One, helping women who are struggling with love after divorce, and also women who are struggling with feelings of unworthiness or not being good enough. So, today I'm coming to you though as just a mother. Um, my channel, like I said, it pulls from all the different avenues of my life. And so tonight I want to talk to you about, um, you know, uh, new mommyhood and the things that your mother did not tell you, really losing yourself. Um, with my son, it was interesting because taking care of him as a baby was, having a baby is easy, as far as caring for them. But caring for me was what went completely by the wayside. So, of course, his needs came first. Everything was about him. But at the end of the day, I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't. And when I say not taking care of myself, I will say that I was getting plenty of rest because he was a baby. So, babies sleep all the time. So, you can get lots of sleep along with them. But I I had like some tied knots in my hair from when he was born that I left in way too long, and they were like a yaki texture, which is similar to my natural hair, and it was a nightmare trying to take them out because when you have extensions in the hair, it's just a little bit silkier than your natural hair. It's easy to see and not cut your real hair off. So I lost some couple chunks of real hair there, but I had left them in way too long because I just was not focused on myself at all. And, forget it when it comes to my toenails. My heels look like I've been scuffling around in the rock quarry. And, it was winter, so we're not even talking about shaving my legs. It was just terrible. And it's kind of like when I finally came up for air, um, I had gotten so out of the habit of doing certain things for myself that, you know, it just, when you break a habit, it's hard to reestablish it. And so what happens as a new mother is you can get into the habit of neglecting yourself. And so that's what I was in the habit of doing. And I mean, honestly, my son is now 2. Now, one huge significant change that I did make is when he was about 5 or 6 months, I went to a baby shower, and a friend of mine took a picture and she posted it. And when I saw how big I was looking in that picture, I said, no, 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 no. And so that motivated me to get on my thing and get back to it. Because before I expanded my coaching to transformation life coaching, I was also a health and fitness coach, and I still am, as a part of the complete holistic approach that I give to my clients. But anyway, so I was like, okay, time to get back on that. I organized some groups of other moms, and we worked out together, and I dropped that baby weight, and I was consistent 4 days a week, and that was it. So that was one thing that I did do for myself. So fast forward, and my son stayed in our room until he was about 18 months. And so once he was out of our room and in his own room, then in the evenings, because he goes to bed between 6 and 6:30, now I had our bedroom to ourselves. And so I could, take the time to just do my toenails and things like that. And I actually kicked that off with my best friend. We went to get pedicures. And so I said, okay, I just need to start doing this for myself. And once I kind of went and got a couple of pedicures, paid for myself, I can just do this myself. I just got to trim my toenails and put some nail polish on, and I can do that, at a minimum for myself. And get a pumice stone and put it to those heels. And so I started doing that. And then, the next thing was my hair. Having natural hair, you can go through these, I had my regimen, where I was doing really good. And I had, got inspired by some YouTube videos and had blended up my Indian Ayurvedic herbs, to help grow my hair. And I'm going to tell you, that cassia henna, I didn't use the henna that colors, but just the blonde henna cassia and amla and some of these other Brahmi, Bringaraj, whatever, however you say that. And I made all, the oil, and I had a regimen, and so my hair was thriving. But then I got lazy, fell off my regimen, got some tied knots again. But here's the funny thing about, see, after you have a baby, you're like, okay, my hair's doing good, whatever. Put some extensions in there and see what happens. So then all that postpartum shedding, when those tied knots came out, which of course I left in too long, again, in the habit of neglecting myself, in the habit of like just being lazy when it came to putting any sort of time and effort in myself. Now I could slap on, just like the surface stuff, so anybody seeing me out and about wouldn't know, oh, she's, doesn't have it together. But really underneath, like, no, but you don't want me to take these boots off, and you see this leg hair, or whatever was going on underneath, and stupid. So fast forward, here I am, my son is almost 2, and the reality is I made the decision, I'm just going to have to pay somebody to do my hair. And that's what I do now. So I go in, she's someone that knows how to work with natural hair, and I get my hair done. And that's how that goes. Because I don't have time for that. And the second part of it is I do have time to do my toenails. And so I bought, some new colors, and that's kind of it's interesting. Once I started getting pedicures again, I, just kind of went with different colors. Like normally you could say I'm a person that probably wouldn't wear anything, too outrageous, too flashy, but for whatever reason, I picked like a purple nail polish or an iridescent, whatever, just something fun and different. And I said, this will just be my little piece of excitement or whatever, as whatever color my toenails are. So I got some fun colors, and I do keep that up. So anyway, I share all this with you to say that when you have a baby, you can expect that the first 3 to 5 months, you're just going to be completely, immersed in caring for your baby as you should. And to honestly, initially give yourself a break. Okay? It's so interesting because sometimes older women, in their attempts to be helpful, like a mother or a grandmother or an aunt, will tell you, what it was like, when they went through it or whatever. And the fact is, a couple questions for you. Did you have some family members in the vicinity that were also helping and supporting you? Or did you go back to work and stick the kid in daycare, so you really don't know what I'm dealing with by being at home with them all the time with no break? I'm on 24/7. You understand what I'm saying? And not saying that a mother that goes to work is not working hard at work, but let's face it, you spend 40 hours, you spend a Monday through Friday 24/7 with your kid, and you compare that to going to a 9 to 5, it is completely different. Because when you go to your 9 to 5, you get an hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks. That's what I tell my husband. I'm like, you get an hour lunch and 2 15-minute breaks. I don't get a break. So, and the thing of it is I am grateful for the privilege of being able to stay home and raise my son, because I grew up with parents who worked. And in some families, it's a necessity. For my parents, it wasn't. It was just a choice they made because they were just more focused on having, a lot materially. But now that they're older, we just had this conversation when they came to visit a few months ago, and they said they actually wished they had done things differently financially and had my mother stay home with us and not use any babysitters, because unfortunately my sisters and I, we experienced some harm from some of these different babysitters and things like that. So my dad goes, raise your own babies, raise your own kids, don't, and I agree with that, and just from my experience when I was growing up, that's just something I said I wanted to do, was I wanted to be home with my son. And I looked at him like the other day, and I just said, man, what a privilege. I've had 2 years, he's 2 years, and I've spent every single moment with him. I haven't missed not a moment, not a milestone, nothing. And, I didn't get that, growing up, having that much time with my mother. But I was able to give it to him. And so that's something very precious to me. And I'm grateful and thankful for it, because it is a privilege, because not everybody has the circumstances to stay home with their children, even when they really want to. And so they deal with a lot of guilt and things like that and do the best they can. So I say all that to say that on the flip side, you also have to recognize that you can't be a martyr right? At some point you're going to burn out because you're burning it at both ends. And, and so you really have to find a way to start incorporating yourself back into the mix. And so how do you do that? Little things, like I mentioned. What are the little things that you used to do for yourself that made you feel pretty, that made you feel good, that you've been neglecting, that you're not doing anymore? And like I said, I'm just naming the basics: hair, nails, and your feet, and those legs, girlfriend. Or if you need to go get yourself waxed, whatever those things are that you've thrown by the wayside. Once that 3 to 5 month period is over, not saying, oh, all of a sudden there's, the sky is parted and everything gets easier, but just pick like 3 things that you want to start doing. And one of the main ones, one of the first ones that I'm going to encourage you to do is to start exercising again. Because the faster you get yourself back on track physically, you just start feeling better. I know for myself, because, I was exclusively breastfeeding, I didn't stop taking I had a complete vitamin regimen that I was doing when I was pregnant, and I kept it up. And I honestly believe that taking those supplements, along with drinking my Shakeology every day and working out 4 times a week, really helped me to not feel exhausted. The exhaustion for me really didn't kick in until my son became a toddler and started waking up at 6 and didn't want to go back to bed until like 9, in the morning. And you have to be up for 2 to 3 hours and then go back to sleep. And so, I don't know, for me, 6 a.m. isn't natural. It never will be. So anyway, I say all that to say that in the beginning, you're going to get through that, right? You're going to start incorporating some things in, and you're going to feel like, oh, you're getting your groove back. And then they will change and hit a new groove, and the routine will change, and you'll be like, what? And you'll get back into the habit of neglecting yourself. And so I made this video just to talk about my own experience. I know it's kind of all over the place. Most of my videos are very succinct, but, I'm just talking, and I hope that it's, you'll be able to grab some nuggets from this, from my experience and what I've learned just going through this and still going through this. And, like I said, once he hit toddlerhood, that brought on a whole new wave, because again, that early rising and then being, going and doing the whole time. Because when you have a toddler, you're just really trying to keep them alive because they're in everything and they're, So anyway, so that expends a lot more energy than a baby, where you can set them somewhere or they're not really going all over the place, and they, nap very often. So toddlerhood brings on a whole new set of interesting challenges for you as well as a mom. But I want to let you know that, first of all, you're not alone. It is totally common and normal to completely thrust yourself into being a mother and being there for your children. And that's not the wrong thing to do. That's the right thing to do. But once you hit a certain point, then you do have to give yourself some time. You do have to give yourself some space. You do have to give yourself some grace, so that you don't become an angry mother, that starts to become resentful. And really not because you have negative feelings towards your children, but just because you're tired. You just haven't got enough rest. You haven't got a change of scenery. You haven't done anything for yourself. And so you're just really burned out. And so, you want to make sure that you don't allow yourself to get to that point. And if you are at that point, you need to talk to your husband, about what's going on, and, and figure something out. I know for me, like I said, my son never had a babysitter. My husband, if I went somewhere, he stayed home with him. If he went somewhere, I stayed home with him. The only time someone watched him was this year in January, when my in-laws came, my husband's parents. We went out, we put him to bed first, and they were here. And they were, and they were in the house. And so, but he was asleep, so they didn't have to deal with him or anything. But recently, like a month ago, I finally just got to the point where I realized that I did need help. I did need a break. You know what I'm saying? I've been going strong for almost 2 years, and everybody has a limit. You finally reach a point where you have to recognize, hey. And so I got a babysitter, and I actually got the idea from a professional colleague of mine. She has a babysitter coming to her house 3 days a week for 5 hours while she's home. So because she works from home, and I work from home. So the babysitter's there managing the children while she's in her home office, which really gives her an opportunity to get work done, but the kids are also taken care of. And you can also feel comfortable because you're still there. It's not like you're leaving your kids somewhere, or, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, that never even occurred to me to do that. And just talking with her and hearing that that's what she was doing, I said, okay. So I hired someone to come in just for a couple of hours once a week. And I'm going to tell you, the first time she came and I had those 2 hours, I blasted out an online course. I mean, I accomplished so much and I felt so good. It felt so good to just do something that was all about me, that didn't have anything to do with anyone else, and that I was able to accomplish it, to finish it. And it just like gave me this renewed sense. And, and it just made me uplifted for the rest of the day, and able to get through the next few days taking care of my son. So, every Tuesday I look forward to her coming in my 2-hour break. Now that I'm pregnant again, um, this week I actually used that opportunity to watch some TV and do some personal Bible study and stuff. So anyway, that's another suggestion, is to get you some help. Just hire some help to come in even when you're home. Because listen, I get it. When you're taking care of kids, you may not feel like getting dressed and going out to do something sometimes can be like, ugh. And you may want to get out of the house, which I was fine to do. But now that I'm pregnant, I'm that first trimester fatigue. And so it's like, no, that's why I said, okay, great. He's taken care of. I'm going to go upstairs and rest. So, and it's so funny because, even when my husband is home, he does give me, a break. He'll take care of my son, but it's like my son knows where I am. He's just different. When the babysitter comes, she's there and she plays with him completely for 2 hours, and it's just all about him. And he, has a good time. But when dad's here, he's like, well, where's mom? What's she doing? So anyway, so that's an option too, is to hire you someone to come in. Even like I said, even if it's just 2 hours once a week while you're home, just get someone to come over and play with the kids. Set it all up. Listen, I give the snack before she comes. Mind you, he's potty trained. He pees in the potty now, and he pooped in the potty because he was pooping when he was asleep. But today he really turned a corner and he didn't poop in his nap. He got up and went poop in the potty. So that was great. But when she comes, I'll put him in a diaper because, she doesn't know the whole process of, okay, we're going to dump it out, whatever. I said, listen, so they can have fun for 2 hours and I'm good. Because he still wears a diaper when he naps and goes to sleep. It's a process, learning. But I share all that to say with you, yeah, get it set up, hire someone for a couple hours a week, and take that break, and work on your home-based business. Work on a book you wanted to read, or just lay in bed and watch TV shows that you can't watch when your kids are awake. Not that they're bad, but they're not maybe appropriate for little kids. So anyway, those are my suggestions. As I said, I apologize. It's all over the place. I apologize that the video is so long. But the truth is, pregnancy brain is a real thing. But I wanted to make sure that I did make a video, and this is what was on my mind. This is what I wanted to talk to you about and share with you. So if you're a mom, a new mom, or a mom with small kids, and you have a comment or a question, or even maybe how you are handling it, feel free to comment below. And anyway, I look forward to seeing you here. So take care.